Hi, I'm Katie Hacker, and I'm here at the Halstead Jewelry Making Studio, and we are so fortunate to have Jeff Fulkerson with us today. Yay, Jeff! Yay! Before Jeff jumps into showing us some things about filing, I just want to remind you that the Halstead grant application is due on August 1st. So get those applications going. It's going to take a little while to fill it in, and we can't wait to see all of your great applications. So Jeff, let's talk a little bit about filing. Why is it so important?
Well, if you're making jewelry, you got to file. And so what I want to do is just talk about a couple of different kinds of files, and then talk about some technique.
Great.
Okay? So we've got some files lined up here. These are just little tiny needle files, sometimes called jeweler's files. They're usually a very fine cut, a number 4, number 6, and they come in different shapes. You've got round ones, square ones, triangle ones, flat ones, half round ones, all kinds of fun shapes for getting into little tiny spaces. Now we've got a couple different files here. If you're going to make jewelry, you need to get a good jeweler's file, and you want like a number 2 or a number 4 cut. This is a number 2 cut. This is a very good file. It's a half round file. It does double duty, obviously. So if you have one side, you can file flat things. The other side, you can file the inside of a ring. This is a great file. This is a barrette file. You notice it's flat on the top. There's no filing there, and it's got a great surface to file on. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. And then this is a real coarse file, and I like a coarse file when you've got a lot of metal to take off. These are great, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then lastly, this is a diamond file. Okay, you don't want to use a diamond file on your metal.
Okay.
You file stones with diamond. Okay, so don't use, I see people sometimes in class will have a set of diamond files and they're filing away on their metal. It doesn't work very well. Will it work? Yes, it'll work. It's not the optimal. So let's talk a minute about filing technique. A file is like a saw blade. It cuts in one direction. So here's the tang, or the end of the file, and if you put that in your hand and push, you're filing. Okay, so I got a piece of scrap copper here.
So
this is filing. This is not filing.
That's sawing.
Well, no. This is filing, not filing, because it only cuts in one direction. So when I'm pushing it, I'm filing. When I'm pulling it back, I'm not filing. Now, some people get upset and say, don't ever file like this. First off, it squeaks. But if you file like that, pulling it back, dragging it back over the metal, you're ruining the file. Well, this is tempered steel. This is a soft piece of copper or silver. So if this file lasts, 20 years, and you do this, it'll probably only last 19 years and about 8 months.
Okay.
However, having said that, I still have the first jewelry file that I bought when I was 16, so I've had that like 10 years. Anyway, moving on.
I know you, Jeff Fulkerson.
So pushing is filing, okay? I see a lot of people doing this. And they're doing their nails, That is not filing, okay? That is not filing for a number of reasons. And I see a lot of people, they hold this down and then they go like this. Well, they're pulling it. They're not filing. You have to push. If you're going to file like this, turn the file over and file like this. Now, I want to talk about holding on to the metal. I try to hold on to the metal as close to the area that I'm filing as I can. If I'm holding this piece down here and I'm filing, guess what? Not much is happening, and I have no control whatsoever. Okay, so I like to hold it as close as I can, and a ring clamp is great for that. You can really get a good grip, especially in smaller pieces. If you've got your bench pin, you can set that right there, and I'm pushing and I'm taking off a lot of metal in a short period of time. Now, another thing that I see people do, so I've got a big flat piece of metal here I want to file. They take their little tiny jeweler's needle file and they're like this.
That's going to take a while.
That's going to take the rest of your life. And it's not very efficient, because another thing that will happen is you'll start to get dips and waves because you can't control that little file. So get a file that's fat enough that you can cover that whole area. And that gives you, and then remove your burrs. Anyway, that gives you more control. So hold it tight, hold it close, and then push, put some grunt into it.
And pick a wide file that's
Pick
broad,
the appropriate file. So if you're going to take off a lot of metal, get like a number 1 or a number 0 cut file. If you're finishing stuff, you want like a 2 or a 4. And if you've got little tiny areas that you need to get into, you can use the little needle files.
All
And
right.
that's my
Filing with Jeff Fulkerson.
my 2 bits on filing.
That's awesome. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Jeff. All right, and we can't wait to hear your questions. So be sure you chime in and we'll answer after our Facebook Live broadcast ends. Thanks for watching today.